Get ready because the tech world is spinning faster than ever, and you're about to get the inside scoop on the innovations that are shaping our future. This is Qualcomm Pulse, and we're diving headfirst into the most electrifying updates, bringing you the news you need to know. From groundbreaking hardware that's pushing the boundaries of what's possible to seismic shifts in major industries, we've got it all. Don't blink, or you might miss the next big thing. We're talking about the relentless pace of progress, the kind that keeps you on the edge of your seat. Are you ready for a high-octane download of the essential tech intel? Let's jump right in. First up, we're starting with a deep dive into next-generation infrastructure processing units. Think massive data throughput, advanced compute capabilities, and a glimpse into the future of networking. This is the kind of tech that powers everything, and we've got the details on a new player that could change the game. Get ready for a look at cutting-edge silicon designed to handle the immense demands of modern data centers and beyond. Next, shifting gears, we're exploring a fascinating intersection of politics and technology. A major political figure has made a significant move impacting a cornerstone American tech company. We'll break down the specifics of this unprecedented government involvement and what it means for the industry. It's a story that's raising eyebrows and sparking debate across the nation, and you'll want to hear every angle. Then, we're getting a closer look at the intricate details of that very deal, dissecting the financial implications and the strategic maneuvers behind it. Was it a masterstroke or a misstep? We'll analyze the numbers, the motivations, and the potential long-term consequences for both the company and the broader economic landscape. This is where the real story unfolds, the one that goes beyond the headlines. Finally, we're heading back to the hardware forefront with an exclusive look at what's next for personal computing. A key processor architecture, previously under wraps, has just surfaced, hinting at significant advancements in performance and efficiency. We'll explore the early details of this upcoming silicon and what it could mean for your devices. Stick around, because you won't want to miss this evolution. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Let's go. Cutting-edge infrastructure powerhouse unveiled. Intel is making waves with its latest infrastructure processing unit, the E2200, codenamed Mount Morgan, signaling a significant leap forward in data center and network acceleration. This next-generation DPU, the successor to the E2100, is built on TSMC's N5 process and is designed to tackle the ever-increasing demands of modern infrastructure workloads. For context, Google has previously utilized the E2100 series, highlighting the critical role these DPUs play in high-performance computing environments. The architecture of the E2200 is truly impressive, featuring a 400G MAC for massive data throughput. At its core, it houses an ARM Neoverse N2-core compute complex, providing robust processing power. A key highlight is the integrated PCIe Gen 5x32 domain, complete with a built-in PCIe switch, a crucial component for high-speed data transfer, especially when compared to competitors like NVIDIA, which are leaning into PCIe Gen 6. This advanced connectivity ensures that the DPU can efficiently handle the immense data flows required in today's networks. In the networking subsystem, Intel has incorporated P4 programmability, allowing for flexible and customized packet processing, alongside high-performance crypto acceleration. A notable feature is the ability for these DPUs to present NVMe devices over the network, simplifying storage management and enhancing performance. The compute complex itself is powered by up to 24 ARM Neoverse N2 cores, supported by 4 channels of LPDDR5 memory, offering substantial processing capabilities for infrastructure tasks. Intel emphasizes the E2200's versatility, supporting multi-host, headless, and converged operational modes. The headless mode, similar to what's seen in specialized storage solutions, allows for efficient operation without direct host intervention. The converged mode offers a flexible mix of functionalities, adapting to various deployment scenarios. The packet processing is handled by Intel's FXB packet processor, which leverages P4 for both programmability and hardware configurability, enabling fine-grained control over network traffic. Security and performance are further enhanced by an inline crypto engine, configurable per flow, and a traffic shaper utilizing a timing wheel algorithm. The RDMA transport engine is also a significant component, with the E2200 featuring both inline and look-aside crypto engines, differentiating their programmability and performance characteristics. This allows for offloading specific operations to accelerators or the ARM cores, optimizing performance across the board. Intel sees numerous use cases for its IPUs within the data center, aiming to address the challenge of application development around these powerful processors. While the architecture is undoubtedly powerful, the success will hinge on widespread adoption and the development of supporting software ecosystems. Nevertheless, the E2200 represents a significant step forward, aiming to provide much-needed competition in the DPU market. With its 400G throughput, Intel is set to match offerings from NVIDIA's Bluefield 3 and AMD's Pensando Selena 400 DPUs, promising a more competitive landscape for data center infrastructure. This advanced silicon is poised to redefine infrastructure capabilities, but what happens when politics enters the tech arena? Stay tuned as we explore a surprising government stake in a major chip manufacturer. Government enters tech arena with major chip stake. In a move that has sent ripples through the technology sector and political discourse, former President Donald Trump has announced a significant government stake in Intel. This development, unprecedented in its nature, sees the U.S. government taking a substantial ownership position in the American semiconductor giant. Trump's announcement on Truth Social stated that the United States now fully owns and controls 10% of Intel, a company he lauded as Great American with an incredible future. He further claimed that the U.S. paid nothing for these shares, valuing them at approximately $11 billion, a claim that has been met with considerable scrutiny. While Intel's market capitalization supports the $11 billion valuation for a 10% stake, the assertion that the government paid nothing is where the narrative diverges significantly from the reality of the transaction. Intel's official announcement clarified the terms. The U.S. government will make an $8.9 billion investment in Intel common stock. This investment is to be funded by the remaining $5.7 billion in grants previously awarded, but not yet dispersed under the U.S. CHIPS and Science Act, along with $3.2 billion allocated through the Secure Enclave program. This brings the total government investment to $11.1 billion, which is in addition to the $2.2 billion in CHIPS grants Intel had already received. The agreement involves the government purchasing 433.3 million primary shares of Intel common stock at $20.47 per share, securing a 9.9% stake. This price was reportedly below Intel's closing price at the time of the announcement, though around its early August trading levels. Intel's board has approved the deal, which does not require shareholder approval. Furthermore, the U.S. government has secured a 5-year warrant to purchase an additional 5% of Intel at $20 per share, contingent on Intel divesting majority ownership of its foundry business. This transaction marks a departure from typical government-industry relations, especially given that the initial CHIPS Act grants were approved under the Biden administration. Despite Intel's performance as the worst-performing tech stock in 2024, the Trump administration proceeded with the deal, reportedly after threatening to rescind the grants, instead opting to demand a significant equity stake. This effectively makes the U.S. government Intel's largest shareholder. Critics argue that this move fundamentally contradicts free market principles. The idea of the government taking an equity stake in exchange for CHIPS Act funding was notably floated by Senator Bernie Sanders, a stark contrast to traditional Republican economic policy. The implications of government ownership in private industry are far-reaching. Experts like Scott Lincicome from the Cato Institute warn that Intel's decisions could become increasingly influenced by political considerations rather than commercial ones, potentially creating an uneven playing field for Intel's U.S.-based competitors and diverting private capital based on government influence rather than pure economic merit. This precedent raises concerns about future government interventions in other critical industries, with White House Director of National Economic Council Kevin Hassett suggesting similar transactions could occur. The trend also highlights a bipartisan willingness to expand government influence in the private sector, a strategy that could be wielded by either party to advance their respective economic and social agendas, potentially leading to market distortions and a chilling effect on private investment. While the political landscape shifts around Intel, the company is also quietly preparing its next generation of processors. Let's dive into the details of Intel's upcoming Panther Lake architecture. Intel's stake deal, a political chess move or economic blunder. President Donald Trump's announcement of a 10% U.S. government stake in Intel, valued at $11 billion, has ignited a firestorm of debate regarding its financial and economic implications. Trump's assertion that the government paid zero for this stake is demonstrably false, as the deal involves an $8.9 billion investment funded by existing CHIPS Act grants and secure enclave program allocations. This transaction, which makes the U.S. government Intel's largest shareholder, is being scrutinized for its departure from free market principles and its potential to distort the semiconductor industry. Intel's official statement detailed that the government would acquire 433.3 million primary shares at $20.47 per share, a price below the market rate at the time but reflective of earlier trading levels. The deal also includes a 5-year warrant for an additional 5% stake at $20 per share, contingent on Intel's foundry business divestiture. While the Biden administration initially approved CHIPS Act grants, Trump's administration leveraged these funds to secure equity, a move that critics argue represents an expansion of state ownership in private enterprise, a concept often associated with socialist economies. Economists and policy analysts are raising significant concerns about the long-term consequences. Scott Lincecum of the Cato Institute points out the immediate risk of Intel's decisions being driven by political rather than commercial imperatives. This could lead to preferential treatment for Intel in government contracts and subsidies, potentially disadvantaging competitors and discouraging innovation. The presence of the U.S. government as a major shareholder could also influence investment flows, with capital potentially directed towards Intel not for its market performance, but due to Uncle Sam's thumb on the scale. This precedent is particularly worrying for the broader economic landscape. Questions arise about whether investors will shy away from critical industries where government involvement is perceived as unpredictable or politically motivated. Furthermore, the potential for future administrations, regardless of party affiliation, to replicate this model in other sectors, from energy to healthcare, raises fears of widespread market distortions and a departure from capitalist principles. Kevin Hassett, director of the White House National Economic Council, has even suggested that more such transactions could be on the horizon, indicating a potential shift in U.S. economic policy. The transaction also highlights a concerning trend where political parties may grant themselves powers they would later find problematic when wielded by opponents. The Democrats who championed the CHIPS Act may not have anticipated its use for such a significant government equity grab, just as Republicans celebrating this move might be surprised when Democrats employ similar tactics in other industries. This creates a dangerous cycle where government intervention in the private sector becomes normalized, regardless of the economic philosophy of the party in power. Ultimately, while the stated goal is to bolster American manufacturing and technological leadership, the method employed, direct government equity in a private company, introduces significant risks. It blurs the lines between public and private sectors, potentially compromising market efficiency and fostering an environment where political influence trumps economic fundamentals. The long-term impact on innovation, investment, and the overall health of the American economy remains a critical question. This high-profile government intervention has certainly captured attention, but the tech world keeps turning, with new hardware on the horizon. Let's shift focus to what Intel is cooking up in its next-generation processor lineup. Intel's Panther Lake processor surfaces for industrial use. Intel's upcoming Panther Lake mobile architecture has made its first retail appearance, spotted on an industrial ITX motherboard by DFI. This sighting, first noted by at Momomoas, offers a glimpse into the next generation of Intel's mobile silicon, specifically the Panther Lake H variant. While not intended for mainstream desktop users, this reveal provides crucial insights into Intel's future product roadmap, particularly for embedded systems and specialized computing environments. The DFI PTH171 PTH173 motherboard features the Panther Lake H chip soldered directly onto the board, targeting industrial applications rather than the typical consumer market. This is further evidenced by the chip's advertised 25W TDP, a lower power consumption profile suitable for compact and integrated systems. Consequently, the board lacks a standard X16 PCIe slot for a discrete GPU, relying instead on the integrated graphics of the Panther Lake H processor. Connectivity for display includes 1x HDMI 2, 1x DisplayPort, 1x USB Type-C, and 1x M2A ports, catering to the specific needs of industrial setups. Memory support on the board includes dual SODIMM slots capable of accommodating up to 128 GB of DDR5 memory. Clocked at speeds up to 7,200 MTS for storage and networking, the motherboard offers two M2 slots for networking and one M2 slot for SSDs, which boasts PCIe 5x4 compliance for high-speed data access. Connectivity options on the rear panel are robust, featuring multiple USB ports and Ethernet support, including eXTOOB functionality and Intel's vPro and CNVI technologies, all indicative of enterprise and industrial-grade features. eXTOOB, a proprietary DFI carrier board technology, allows for expanded functionality by connecting to motherboards like this one. While pricing and specific availability for industrial components are typically handled on a quote basis, the underlying Panther Lake H architecture is slated for release in the last quarter of this year. A significant highlight of this architecture is its planned adoption of Intel's 18A process node, a major advancement in manufacturing technology. Panther Lake chips are expected to be integrated into a wide array of devices, including laptops, handhelds, and mini PCs, alongside these less commonly reported industrial use cases. DFI's roadmap indicates that Panther Lake production will ramp up next year, with a staggered launch of various SKUs. Notably, DFI specifies a 10-year product lifecycle for its motherboard, extending to 2036, based on Intel's long-term roadmap. The fact that the PTH171, PTH173 motherboard is already available for purchase from DFI suggests it may be an early implementation or a specialized variant not explicitly detailed on the broader roadmap. This early look at Panther Lake H, particularly its industrial application, underscores Intel's strategy to cater to diverse market segments with its upcoming processor families. The integration of advanced manufacturing processes like 18A and support for the latest connectivity standards like PCIe 5 signals Intel's commitment to pushing performance and efficiency boundaries across its product lines, from high-performance data center solutions to specialized embedded systems. From cutting-edge infrastructure to political maneuvers and now next-gen processors, the tech landscape is constantly evolving. We've covered a lot of ground today, so let's wrap it all up with a quick recap. And that's a wrap on today's essential tech updates. We saw Intel's powerful new E2200 DPU set to redefine data center performance. Then, we explored the controversial U.S. government stake in Intel, diving into the political and economic implications. We also analyzed the intricate details of that Intel deal, dissecting the financial and strategic angles. Finally, we got an early look at Intel's upcoming Panther Lake processor, hinting at the future of mobile and industrial computing. Don't miss out on any of the action. Hit that like button, subscribe to Qualcomm Pulse for more cutting-edge news, and ring the notification bell to stay ahead of the curve. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and follow us on all social media platforms for exclusive content. We'll see you next time.